We go to the 5,000 meters now. This is going to be 12 and a half laps. And California has only 2 runners entered in this event. The record you see there in the NCAA qualifying time. Jay Martin of California and Steve Henderson, the only 2 runners entered for the Bears. John Butler for UCLA will be in lane 1. Jim Gaffield will be in lane 3. And you see Martin will be running in lane 2. Henderson in lane 3. California would have to sweep this. In other words, get 9 points, and it's going to be impossible without having a 3rd runner in the event. So if they win 1st and 2nd, that's the best they can do, unless they can manufacture somebody and throw him in there right at the wire, and that's not going to be allowed, I'm sure. The rain continues to come down. This is a magnificent meet. The rain has interfered with it, but it really hasn't interfered with the performance by some of these athletes. Atlee Mahorn has been outstanding. Marsh was brilliant.
And Danny Everett, that 400 meters.
Indeed, it's been a magnificent day for these athletes, despite the inclement conditions, which really have worsened now in the last half hour or so. Now Cal has got 3 runners in the event. All right, they've added another man. All right, we'll see how they're going to do. Remember, 12 and a half laps around this 400-meter track, which is developing pools of water in it now. California has added a 3rd runner, Jason Flam.
Jason Flam is a 6'1", 150-pound junior from Carmichael. He ran in the 3,000-meter steeplechase before, so now we do have a meet, Tom.
We do indeed. Now, bear in mind, for the Bears to win this and snap a 17 dual meet drought against the Bruins, they would have to sweep 1, 2, 3. Now, the runners for Cal again are Martin, Henderson, and Jason Flam. If any of the Bruins, Butler, Gaffield, or Nitti get any points at all, why, the Bruins have again won this dual meet. Now then, if the Bears should sweep this and get 9, they still must win
the 4x400
relay.
And we might see Atlee Mahorn again.
And we might see Thomas. I don't know. You never can tell just what would happen, because
well, no, Tom, what could happen would be a matchup between Atlee Mahorn and Danny Everett on the final leg of the 4x400 relay, and Atlee Mahorn and Danny Everett would be one whale of a race.
But how much could you ask of Mahorn? He's won the 100. He won the 2 easier than he won the 100, and he anchored the 4x1. How much can a man do in an afternoon when the rain is pouring down? I mean, Mahorn is a brilliant runner, but you're just asking almost the impossible. John Butler is leading. Remember, 12 and a half laps here, and I would imagine, if nothing else, the Bruins will just have a big strategy thing. I don't know how, I'm sure they want to win it, but all they need really is 1 point.
John Butler's 23. He had a great freshman season at UCLA. He's been injured a little bit in the last couple of years, but back when he was a high school senior at Edison High in Huntington Beach, he was the California State High School champion at 2 miles. That same year, he ran in the World Junior Cross Country Championships in Madrid. That U.S. team won the World Junior Cross Country Championship. He's a senior now. That's John Butler leading this race. Jay Martin's in 2nd place from Cal. Jay Martin, of course, lost to Junkerman in that great finish in the 1,500 meters. Martin, also a senior. He's from Fremont.
Dwight Stones, of course, down in the infield. He's been doing yeoman duty down there, standing under the umbrella, talking with the champions. Dwight, we've got a real meet going, and it's coming right down to the last 2 events.
Of now with a score from the triple jump in is that the best Cal can do is get a tie.
That's
81
right.
and a half points is exactly half of the total that is available. So really what the UCLA runners probably should do is just concentrate on boxing the 3rd Cal runner the last couple of laps and make sure that they can sneak in for a 3rd place. But again, I think that the 1,600-meter relay is going to be a really exciting event, regardless of whether it determines the outcome of the total score, just because of the fact that these 2 teams have got the type of personnel available where they can really go after each other. Now, we may not see Atlee Mahorn, and I almost hope we don't, because that's almost too much to ask of an athlete, and Henry Thomas seems to be taking the rest of the afternoon off, but I think that it will be a very competitive race, and one that I think the people who have stayed around to watch this meet would very much like to see.
Well, I agree with you, and but let me go back to getting a tie. After 17 zips, even a tie is better than kissing your sister.
I have to be honest with you, I think you're right, especially when you figure they came down here with probably the best dual meet team they've had in 20 years and the best chance that they've had to go at a UCLA, and who would have known that Henry Thomas runs in only one event, an event in which UCLA loses, and yet UCLA still is able to come back and win the meet with some come-through performances from a lot of other athletes, one of which we're looking at in this race in Mark Junkerman, who just did a brilliant job in the 1500 and really inspired this team to pull some upsets in a few other events to really put UCLA in the driver's seat right here. Again, all they need is a third in this event. If they were to win the mile relay, the score would actually make it look as though the meet was not nearly as close as we all know that it is.
Indeed, it has been a very close meet. Butler continues to lead for UCLA. Jay Martin is running in second place for the Bears, and there's really been no change. This is the way they started. They get 12.5 laps for this 5,000 meter event. We repeat again, if the Bears should win this, sweep it, 1, 2, 3, and then win the 4x400 or 1600 relay, they would have a tie with the Bruins. That's 81.5 points apiece. We'll be back to watch the finish of this and the finish of this dual meet. Aren't you glad you're inside where it's warm and dry? We'll be back after this message. You're back with the 5,000 meter run. Vic Hulchak, I'm Tom Kelly. Dwight Stones is down in the infield. You can see the clock ticking away. The scoreboard, 81.5 to 67.5. We repeat again in case you've just joined us. This 18th dual meet between the Bears and the Bruins coming down to the final two events. Butler continues to lead. Flam, who would be California's, faint hope now, is trailing by about 70 yards. And the Bears need a sweep in this event and then must win the 1600 to forge a tie. So it looks as though the odds are definitely against them, overwhelmingly so.
Tom, Dwight made a very good point before. No matter what happens in this race, the final in the 4x400 relay could be very exciting. Even if Atlee Mahorn doesn't run for Cal, you could have a matchup between Danny Everett running the anchor leg for UCLA and Peter Howard running the anchor leg for Cal. And Peter Howard, of course, had a terrific season last year, close to 45 seconds flat in the 400 meters, 45-45. And Peter Howard was second in the Pac-10 championships at 400 meters. So those two relay teams are still very evenly matched.
And regardless of the outcome, and I know that California Bear fans, for 2,400 meters, the time was 6:52.1 in this race. You can see the water on the track, and for California Bear fans, it may be small consolation to know how close they came and yet suffered still another loss at the hands of the Bruins, namely the 18th. And I think that Flam has dropped out of the race for Cal. You can see him. If we put the camera clear across on the other side, why, Flam is being consoled by some of his teammates. In fact, the field is approaching him now. And there's Flam. And the 3,000 meters and the steeplechase. And now there's just too much to ask for in a day like this. And he gave it a game effort. I mean, he was out there trying to get a point. And you can see he and the rest of the Bear teammates trying to cheer their squad on. But
He's
no
primarily a
chance now.
steeplechaser. This is not his event. It indeed was asking a great deal of Jason Flam to get in here.
In fact, the Bruins are running 1-3-4. Only Martin of California running in the number 2 spot, trailing Butler. And, you brought up a point, Vic, a while ago. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see if they get the opportunity that the Bruins might just box Martin and himself, and he would not be able to get any kind of points at all for Cal. The man running back of him is California's Henderson, but he's well back up the track as well. I was going to say that it's small consolation for Cal track fans to know that they came this close. They still lost to UCLA, and of course that's no consolation at all, but magnificent dual squad, and really it's been a great meet and a tribute to both coaches, Hunt and Larson, to get their 2 squads ready. And had the weather conditions been a bit better, why, who knows what would have happened, but quite frankly, UCLA has been the superior squad on the track today.
Tom, we now know who the 2 4x400 relay teams will be, or we know the makeup of those 2 teams. California will be running Atlee Mahorn in the 4x400 relay.
Something?
He'll be running the 3rd leg. Peter Howard will be running the anchor. Danny Everett will be running the anchor for UCLA. Kevin Young has replaced Henry Thomas in the UCLA 4. So for UCLA, it'll be John Stanich leading off, handing off to Anthony Washington, to Kevin Young, to Danny Everett. For Cal, it'll be Kerry Threets to Walt Jones, to Atlee Mahorn, to Peter Howard. That is going to be a terrific 4x400.
So regardless of the outcome of the 5, and it would appear as Butler continues to lead, and Martin runs in second place, that the Bruins are going to, if not win this event, they certainly are going to pick up enough points. All they need is 1 to gain the advantage. 163 points in the dual meet, and each event, save the relay races, has a total of 9 points available. 5 to the winner, 3rd for 2nd, 1 for 3rd. And with the Bruins leading 81.5 to 67.5, you can see mathematically that Cal would have to sweep all this, and they can't. They only have 2 men in the event. Martin is the only one who is in contention, running a very steady second behind Butler of UCLA. 3.5 laps to go.
Butler put on a little sprint there. Martin's gone right with him. Both Butler and Martin were outstanding high school runners. They've been a little bit disappointing in their collegiate careers, but this would be a big victory for John Butler. Martin won this race in the dual meet last year. Of course, Martin ran in the 1500 earlier today, finished 2nd.
But I think it would be important for Martin mentally not to get boxed in, to make sure he gets some points. He's run a very tough race. He's had a tough afternoon, and now he is almost being boxed in.
Here's the strategy right here you were talking about. Now, Martin earlier this year ran his PR, his personal record of 13:52.
Look at him go around him.
Yep.
Wasn't going to let him box him in at with about 2 laps to go. Martin was not going to be boxed in, and he has widened the advantage over Butler now. And if they want to beat him in the 5,000, come and catch me, he says.
They're not going to do it. The 23-year-old senior from Fremont looking very, very strong now. Jay Martin's been a fine runner at the University of California. This would be a very big victory for him. And emotionally, Tom, you know, this really does set up quite a duel in the 4x400. Even though Cal has no chance to win the meet, they can really win a moral victory by winning that 4x400.
4,000 meters, 11:28.9, and you've got to admire Martin, Vic.
Yep.
I mean, he is going to win this race, and there's nothing he can do about the outcome of this dual meet. But he is going to get as many points as he can for the Bears, and if he hangs on, he'll get 5. But he's not, with 2 laps to go now, he's about 60 yards in front. And UCLA will get enough points with 2nd and 3rd, that'll be 4, to win the meet. But Martin, what a magnificent effort, and he's going to win, it would appear from here, this 5,000 meter race. And that really is quite a story itself.
And the race is for 2nd place.
Well, the Bruins will settle for 2nd, but Martin has to be congratulated on a magnificent win here if he does get it. He's got about 1.5 laps to go, and he is that far in front of that trio of Bruins, which of course is Butler and Gaffield and Nitti.
Nitti, Butler, and Gaffield actually in that order.
So, as you look down at the rain-soaked and puddled track here at Drake Stadium, Jay Martin of California will have 1 lap to go. He'll get the bell now. That's a magnificent race this kid is running, and you can't minimize it.
Coached by his father in high school, Jack Martin, who was the 11th place finisher in the 1956 final Olympic trials in the steeplechase. Jay Martin rounding out a great career with this senior season here at the University of California. He's going to win this 5,000 meter race for the 2nd year in succession. Jay Martin.
You know, just going 5,000 meters on a cold, windy, rainy day like this might be like virtue, its own reward. But I tell you, this kid is going to get 5 for the Bears, and it's not going to be enough. When this race is over, why, the Bruins will have 4 points at 85.5, and the Bears will have 72.5, and the scoring for the meet will be over, still leaving us with the 4x400 or 1,600 meter relay, which should be a great race.
Tom, you really have to admire this Golden Bear team. They came down here hoping to pull an upset. It's over for them now in the meet, but Jay Martin winning the 5,000 meters here, a very gutty performance, and I think this sets up a terrific finish to this meet. There's Jay Martin right now winning the race.
Butler's going to come in 2nd, and you know, the crowd here, predominantly Bruins, of course, we're at Drake Stadium, gave this kid from up north a very nice round of applause. That's very commendable. Butler finishes 2nd, and coming in 3rd
Joe Nitti.
is Nitti. And the Bruins get 4 points, the Bears get 5. Scoring-wise, UCLA has won its 18th consecutive over Cal, but you have to admire the tenacity and the finish and the win by this kid, Jay Martin. And let's get Dwight Stones with the winner, and we'll find out how he feels. 5,000 grueling meters and a winner. Dwight?
Tom, it didn't take long for Jay to get over here. Jay, they were trying to play some games with you there for about better part of 10 laps of the race. What did you just decided that since it was over for the team scoring, you might as well just go out and try and give a good performance?
I think that's the first time I decided to run the 5, even though when it was slip sliding away in the team scoring. But after that 1500, Mark ran a great race. I was surprised. I wanted to get them both. For consolation, I had to get at least one.
Did you have a feeling that if the thing had been on the line, that you would have really had to dig down deep maybe to win this race?
The 5, yeah. I felt good, and I figured that the time they least expected would be on the turn. So I went for it there with about 3 laps left, and I know I saw a look on John's face that shocked him, so it was a good move. I was happy with it.
You must feel a little bit at home today because the weather's very much like it's been up north.
It's been okay, but yeah, who knows? Maybe this, with a lot of times I would turn, I don't think it really mattered either. Some great times today.
It was a fine effort, Jay.
Thanks a lot.
Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Dwight, and our congratulations to Jay
warm.
Martin. Vic, we're going to take another look at it again. You can see the Bruins finishing 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
That's Nitti, Butler, and Gaffield. That's the fight for 2nd place right there. Jay Martin from California won this race, and the Golden Bears and the Bruins, in spite of the weather, have had a great meet here.
Up the track in front of that threesome, Jay Martin of Cal to win the 5,000 meters. The Bruins have won the track meet again. Still a big race coming up. We'll be back after this message. Means, of course, that Jay Martin, even though he won the 5,000 meter race for the University of California at Berkeley, the Bears once again fell to the Bruins. That's the 18th consecutive dual meet victory for UCLA over California, and the beat goes on. But the athletes are to be congratulated. A magnificent performance, and we've got